Hey gang, how are you? Kevin Goatee here. Kevin Israel and I cannot thank you enough. For 1 year, holy shit, we did it. 1 year together of Gutting the Sacred Cow. This is now episode 51. We invited Task to come on and do XMEN. So yet another superhero film that this podcast is going to see if they can take down or not. But in the meantime, don't forget, Gutting the Sacred Cow every single day, guttingthesacredcow.com. Articles, merch, grab a hat, grab a bag, grab a shirt, the usual rigmarole. Next, of course, if you haven't done so already, why are you so late to the party? Please, for the love of God, a 5-star rating, a 2-sentence review on your platform of choice. It does help us. It helps us get advertisers like we have for this episode, Podcorn. So you'll hear more about that later on. Thanks again, Podcorn, for having us. And now, without further ado, here's Task taking down the X-Men from 2000. See ya.
Gather round, here's what I know. It's just that this cow has got to go. I know some people kinda like it, yeah, it's trending right now. Yeah, that doesn't matter, cause we're gutting the sacred cow.
Put a cork in it, honey. Daddy's talking business. Kevin Israel, name that film.
I don't know. It's an evening at the Goatee House.
That's hilarious. The Great Outdoors, John
You know what?
Kay.
You know what? I don't think I've ever even seen that movie.
What?
I don't think I've ever seen The Great Outdoors. I don't think. You know what? It's one of those movies that whenever people bring up, I'm just like, yeah, they're right. And I slide by in the conversation. That and Uncle Buck. I've also never seen Uncle Buck. I know.
John Candy's a goddamn, Canadian.
No, I don't. It's not like I think they're bad. It just I never happened upon them. And then once you get so far removed from a movie, you're not going to see it unless you go out of your way to see it. So I never saw it.
Both are on cable ad nauseum. How do you have to?
I haven't seen Uncle Buck on cable unless you got a DeLorean and you're going back in time to 1996 in cable.
It is on, I don't know how often, as The Great Outdoors.
Bro, you text me the next time one of those two movies are on cable.
Okay. Which is probably about another half an hour. That and Bloodsport also delightfully on cable nonstop. And boy, do I get sucked right in. All right. Kevin Goatee, Kevin Israel, Gutting the Sacred Cow. Happy 1 year anniversary.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Today is the day a year ago that we started this odyssey, and I'm going to blow our fucking horn. I'm going to toot our horn. I'm not going to blow our horn. That's for you to do. We've done a pretty damn good job. 49 episodes in the book, 25,000 plus views / downloads, YouTube and podcast, and over 3,000 social media followers. You guys have done a great job. We can't thank you enough for following and loving us and sharing the good word. And we're hooking you in one by one. Twitter every day, we're getting somebody, hey, I gave you guys a chance. One guy watched the Transformers episode today and fucking loved it. And now we've got a new fan for life. So tell your friends if you like the podcast, because that's how we get involved in this show. We get some live shows in the mix when fucking coronavirus dies down. Well, that's that. But we want
this morning, my wife and I were both looking at our phones, and we were both looking at our Facebook memories. And she goes, "Oh, you know what today is?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's the Gutting the Sacred Cow anniversary." She's like, "No, 2 years ago we were on our honeymoon." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that too. That's it. Right. That was important."
If it wasn't for Facebook memories, I'd have no idea when shit happened or any of your birthdays for that matter. Yeah. Christ. Kevin Goatee, Kevin Israel, as I said, we're joined by, he wants to go by Task, so we're going to go by Task. Task has joined us to do the 2000 film, comic book extraordinaire film. One, some people say started it all. I don't, because I know my history. But that film he's chosen is X-Men. Task, welcome to the show. And why don't you shout out, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you shout out where we can find you, what you're up to, all your programs and shows and social media?
Thank you, sir. What's up, everybody? My name is Corey Pruitt, but everybody calls me Task. It's a name I've had since I was a kid. You'll never see no one calling by my real name on there, even though they know it. My Twitter is up to Task, and yeah, you can find me there. I also do a weekly live comic book podcast called Super Suit Show. So if you Google Super Suit Show, all one word, we do live shows every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific. And I'm excited to be here.
Nice.
We're excited to have you. This is, Jesus, without even doing any research, Kevin, we've done this is our third comic book film. We did Batman Returns. We did Batman Begins. Oh, fourth. And we did Batman versus Superman. Did I miss anyone else?
I think not off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think
I don't have a 49 episode memory. So,
well, Task has decided to take down X-Men. So let's get into it. 2000, I had said the year it had come out, a $75 million budget at the time, bringing in a total haul of $296.3 million. But in 2020 dollars, that's an $89.3 million budget. Gross, $353 million.
Not too shabby. It's not
too shabby. Not bad.
A lot of scarol, as the Jews say, right, Kevin? IMDb, as we know, is a scale 1 through 10 with decimal points. Task, we're going to give you the honors. What did X-Men score on the old IMDb?
To me?
Yeah, guess. What's your guess?
Yes.
Oh, I will say, is it 1 out of 10?
1 out of 10 with decimal points.
Okay. I will say negative 9.7.
Oh.
I like that he's committed to the hate.
I didn't ask for Bryan Singer's fuckboy scores.
Oh, no. We'll get there.
I believe we will. Give me a number.
6.
Kevin Israel.
7-1.
7-4.
Oh, so close.
Very close. Rotten Tomatoes, as we know, is a scale 1 through 100%. Kevin Israel, what did the critics score for X-Men?
76.
Task.
I'm going to say 64.
81.
Wow.
Ooh.
You know what this was? Now that I think of it, it was kind of a critic's darling.
Audience score, Task, same story, percentage points.
I'm going to say 71.
Kevin Israel.
86.
83.
Oh,
wow.
So close.
Very rare audience and critics are so close.
Yeah.
Especially in a comic book film. You'd figure that they would be quite the polar opposite. Quotes. What? Should we wear yellow jumpsuits instead? That's it. Kevin Israel, quotes for you?
There's only one quote that matters in this movie, and it really frames the entire movie. You know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?
Everyone.
The same thing that happens to everything else. One of the worst lines of dialogue ever written
by Joss Whedon. Task, anything pop out at you?
Yes. My name is Rogue, which she calls herself that out of nowhere for no reason at all. I remember even as a young and watching that, like, wait, why is she called Rogue? Like, did she just call herself that?
Just cause, Task. Don't ask these things.
Jeez, the movie's so bad. And I would like to apologize to everybody because when I was asked to be on this show, I originally asked, they told me to pick a movie. I said, can I just destroy all of them?
No. No, you can't.
We're gonna do a 9-hour long episode.
I could do it in an hour. That's why I was like, I don't need that much time. But okay, I'll go with the rules. One movie. We'll just start with the first one.
All right. 5 fun facts. We all know Dougray Scott pulled out of Wolverine to play the bad guy in MI2. Who else almost played Wolverine?
I know there was at one point they were talking. I think De Niro at one point.
Oh, stop it!
Yeah.
What? angry, whiny, annoying old man? Is that his fucking secret power now?
Yeah, no, I'm serious. There was a time where they were talking De Niro. I don't know if that's obviously not who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's gonna play Jean Grey. I will give you a hint. I think you might get it. He actually played a superhero. This character this person who was supposed to play Wolverine did in fact eventually play a superhero. Stumped?
Yeah.
Edward Norton.
Really?
Really?
Oh, that's
I can't see it. Are you
no,
kidding
I
me?
can't
Not
get
at
that
all.
one.
He's built like a 6th grade Asian girl. No, cannot see that. Number 2, Rebecca Romaine spent 9 hours a day in makeup. One night at a party, she drank too many tequila shots and threw up blue from the costume dye that had seeped in her body from being in that 9 hours a day.
That's possible?
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Did you not see Goldfinger, how she dies when they paint her all gold and she has...
You know what? I forgot how I based my scientific knowledge off of James Bond movies.
I did learn that from Bond. Great film. Run Along Honey, Man Talk. To make the $75 million budget, they cut scenes with Pyro, Beast, and the Danger Room training scene.
Yeah, the Danger Room training scene would have been nice.
Well, they saved them all, and they all saved those scenes for 2 and 3. Number 4, the first script was written in 1984 by Orion Studios. The script was thrown out when Orion ran into financial trouble.
Yeah, I don't think they could have pulled it off in 84.
Well, we all know that because we did see, or part C, the Captain America film, the Dolph Lundgren Punisher film, and everyone's favorite, the Fantastic Four.
Oh, that Fantastic Four film is amazing.
That's played on Channel 11 I don't know how many times.
No. I'm talking about the one that never made it to anything, and it's on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Captain America. Sorry. Yeah. I did see that. Okay. Number 5, I'll give you these two to choose. 2 directors were approached to direct X3, but so 2 guys turned it down. I want to take a guess on which very well-known, actually, fuck it, I'll make this quicker. Which 2 directors who actually did direct comic book films turned down X3?
Whedon?
1, because he was trying to develop Wonder Woman at the time.
And Abrams?
Snyder to do 300, which also stunk. That film stinks, 300. I fell asleep. How do I fall asleep in a film like that? And I don't fall asleep in films. I'm not narcoleptic. Task. Let the show that. Those are your 5 fun facts. But now, Kevin Israel, it's now time because he looks like he's already at a horse who's
chomping at the bit.
He's hooked out of his mind at the starting gate, trying to get out. So let's let Task go out and gut the sacred cow.
Hey, everybody. My mom taught me as a kid, she said, always start with love before you destroy something. So I want to start with love real quick. I do appreciate the X-Men movies for starting it off with the Auschwitz scene, because that was like bold. Like I was like, oh, so we're going this way with it. Okay, fine. So I do give it that. Patrick Stewart's casting is like arguably the best comic book casting of all time. So I do want to get that out the way. Sir Ian McKellen as Magneto is also great. So now that I got that crap out the way, let's just completely destroy this film. First of all, people, it's okay to let this movie go. It is perfectly fine to just say, you know what? Things just don't age well. Watch X-Men right now. Watch the X-Men film.
We did.
Right now.
You did. Last night, as a matter of fact.
Yesterday, a Saturday morning, I watched it.
And tell me that movie still holds up. You can't tell me that movie still holds up. It just doesn't. The Superman movies hold up. The Spider-Man movies hold up. X-Men does not hold up. Uh-oh, we got disagreement already.
The Spider-Man films, 2 does. The Tobey Maguire one, part 2 holds up. 3 is a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, well my
Yeah,
bad, my
yeah.
bad. Well, there's
And-
only 2 Spider-Man movies, so there's only 2 of them, 1 and 2, and then
One's okay. 1 is all right. It definitely lost some luster off the fastball. 2 is amazing. That's not going to lose
Absolutely.
any shine off the fastball.
Absolutely. Well, okay, so we'll go there. The Superman movies hold up, but the X-Men movies
3
do
and
not hold
4,
up.
Superman 3 and 4. We're going to go down that road.
Yes. You're not gonna
with Nuclear Man, Solar Man. What was his name?
that it was Nuclear Man, and I believe, and that'll be another episode. We'll do another episode on that.
Those would not qualify because they are egregious pieces of shit. You might as well try and dunk on Friday the 13th Part 8 while you're at it.
Is that the one where he went to Manhattan?
Is it? I don't even know. I just pulled it out of my ass. It might be. I think it is actually. It was 7 or 8. Okay.
Yeah, so he went there. I just remember that one because that black guy was beating him up, and then he
got his head punched off.
Just pushed his head off.
I remember that part too. That's
yeah, it was
it.
a great moment. Let's start off. First of all, X-Men gets way too much credit. People say that it is the beginning of the superhero films. That is wrong.
Right.
That is not true. It was actually Blade.
Thank you.
And I will
Thank
stand
you.
by
Thank
that.
you.
Yep.
Thank you. You are
Let's keep it
100%
real.
correct. Yep.
Now, people get mad because they say, "Oh, well, that's because nobody knew it was a superhero." That's my argument. So what? Who cares that people didn't know? He still was one.
Did Blade start with the Marvel logo like all their movies do?
No, it didn't have the Marvel
it didn't.
logo.
It didn't?
No.
Because Marvel Studios wasn't around at the time, I believe. So
Yeah. And
they're the-
Blade also the first true black superhero, not Black Panther. Thank you.
Oh,
Wow, Kevin Goatee just stomping on all sorts of shit right now.
That's not true. Blade is 1997. Panther is 2017. Let's do the math, guys. Or
no,
8.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I get in trouble for that. I tell people all the time. They say, "Yo, shout out to Black Panther being the first," and I'm like,
I just walk out of that conversation.
No. I'll say it for you.
Give me your cell phone number. Next time it comes up, I'll just be like,
Damn.
talk to this guy.
Just
Listen,
tag me on Twitter.
Wesley Snipes went to jail because he didn't pay taxes. Give the man his credit for being the first one.
That's all I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
That takes nothing away from Black Panther at all.
Nothing.
But that's funny that we're bringing up that because in the Blade films, the Blade film also introduced the cool leather. Like all of a sudden, leather is in. And that way to like the Matrix, and then the X-Men, which is another thing that is trash. Pick up any X-Men book during any single time. The costumes are colorful, they're bright, they're vibrant. This is one thing that really made the X-Men stand out. They were so colorful. Then you watch this movie, and they all look like they just came out of a Vampire Masquerade movie. And it's like, wait, why do they look like this? I get it, they were trying to save money, but to me, that's no excuse. When it comes to the X-Men, I need my colors. I need everything like that. So that's another problem I have with it. Can I get to Bryan Singer now? Oh, you know what? That's too easy. Do
it. It's your forum. You do what you want.
Yeah, you're in charge.
My man. All right. Yeah, like I said earlier, the fuckboy Olympics. We have Bryan Singer, that should be enough right there. I could have kicked it off with just saying Bryan Singer, but you know what? No. We'll get there too. Because...
He did make a lot of good films. Usual Suspects is still amazing. I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah. But what else?
I don't know. At Pupil, am I gonna go crazy about that? Probably.
Valkyrie.
That was okay.
Yeah, that was all right. But one thing that I don't know a lot of people know about the X-Men movies, and you can look this up. Bryan Singer did not want comic books on the film. I
did see that. Yep.
He did not want comic books on the set. He would actually get upset at the people if he saw a comic book on the set. It would really piss him off. And so there was a lonely worker there that would sneak comic books to all the actors, and his name was, what was his name? Oh, Kevin Feige was on the set lesser known guy say, you know what, I'm gonna sneak in these comic books for him. So you people are trying to defend a film where a guy said, hey, everything that you people love about these guys, fuck that. Fuck that. We're just gonna do it completely different and just make them not what they are. So we got that out the way. And can we continue the fuckboy Olympics? We're going with Ray Parker too. Like, let's continue the fuckboy Olympics here. So we have Ray Park as well as I'm told that's Toad, but I'm like, wait, where's Toad?
He
Like,
he
this guy
really
who's
ruined the
jumping.
villains.
Big time.
Big time. Give it to for goddamn Cro-Magnon. And like he's like growling like he's a dog, and I'm just like, fam, what are we doing here? Like, what is going on? He has sharp teeth. He like, and like he just gets his butt kicked throughout the whole movie. So I hated that movie, that part too. I get at the time that Wolverine was the guy. I completely understand that, and I always have a thing that I say where I say one of the things that made Wolverine popular was that Cyclops, he picked on Cyclops. So for him to be justified to fight Cyclops, they had to make Cyclops a piece of shit. They had to make Cyclops deserve to be treated like shit. Pretty much where they went with it. Like, Cyclops was just a douche, and I was like, why? Why is he like this? Like for no reason at all. It's like, you don't have to do that for him. But that's where we went with it. I believe that it's completely unfair to call it an X-Men movie. I think it's unfair. I'm like, this is not an X-Men movie. This is Wolverine and Friends.
You're not far off. That's
Right.
not far off.
Like, this is just Wolverine and Mystique, which shout out to Rebecca Romaine Stamos for getting my puberty going. But also, yeah, it's just a Wolverine film. And like, I get it, Wolverine's popular, but the X-Men is an ensemble. So you're telling me this is an ensemble film when really it's just about this guy and some other things that are just happening around him. So that was just another thing I didn't like. Halle Berry's accent. Like, come on. I've never before, until Black Widow, seen a character who the accent was so bad that they just said, you know, in the other films,
You forgot Carrie Fisher forgetting that she's British after 15 minutes in Star Wars.
fair.
That's the worst one.
Did Black Widow ever actually even do a Russian accent?
Yes.
In Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Did she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to go back and watch. I don't remember. I know what's her name? Scarlet Witch tried doing like an Eastern European accent, and then just slowly it faded away because it sounded ridiculous.
They're just like, you know, that was a good idea for the time that it was.
E for effort.
Yeah.
And error.
E for error. I love it. I don't blame the movies for this one, but this is something I've always had a problem with Wolverine. Like, let's be real here. Wolverine should not be able to come within 5 of Magneto at all. Like, why is Magneto having trouble with this guy? You should be able to just launch him into space like it's nothing. Like, unfortunately, I was a geek at the time, little young geek. I still am, but at the time, I'm thinking to myself, isn't Wolverine made out of metal? Why did you just launch him somewhere?
In the comics, Magneto almost kills him.
That's what I was waiting on. Like, especially when the part where he says, oh, does that metal travel all through your body? I was like, oh, Wolverine's dead. He's going to kill him. And then nothing. I was just like, wait, no, this doesn't make sense. So that's something that I really, really don't like. All the squandered potential that it had. There were so many mutants that can be done. And that's fortunate for me because I know the potential that the X-Men can be. So when I'm watching these films and I'm watching this one, I'm like, where is the Danger Room? Where is the Savage Land? Where is that? And if you're going to choose 3 mutants to go against the X-Men, you're going to choose Mystique, Sabretooth, and Toad? all Wolverine has to do is stab, and he's done. Like, you choose the weakest ones in the group.
Wait, you think Saber? Hold on. The other two I'll buy, but Sabretooth, I would not call him weak.
No. Here's the deal. That's Sabretooth.
Yeah, that's Sabretooth. I agree with that.
Yeah, Cro-Magnon. I'm growling. Rah, rah, rah.
Yeah, he was just a heavy. They just turned him into a heavy.
Exactly. Yeah, I just feel like the film just did not do the X-Men justice. But at the time, that was all we had. So to us, we were just like, oh my God, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And that nostalgia has stuck with us for 20 years. As in, you just remember when you first saw this and it was just so amazing, which is a lot of different films. Like, I could name a bunch of films I remember enjoying as a kid, and then I come back, rewatch it, I'm like, ugh.
That's called this podcast.
Okay, well, I'm in the right spot because all of the X-Men films are bad. And so as an X-Men fan, I can't let that movie slide anymore. I tried to watch it again. So
what do you think about how did you feel about the plot? Like the overall the main like story arc of the movie, as far as like Magneto's plan and everything.
I'm still trying to understand what the plan was. So go ahead.
He was using the Statue of Liberty as a superconductor for Rogue to spread, so that what they could do is use his powers and her to enhance it to make everyone kind of fast forward any mutations they've had in their body, because he said God works too slowly. So he's going to use her as a superconductor and then power out to every other normal person out there any mutations they had, and then kill them because they were trying to obviously stop and kill mutants and register them and all that shit.
That doesn't make sense. No, I got you, but that doesn't make sense to me. Because just because you're turning them into mutants, that doesn't mean you're gonna like be in charge. I'm like, okay, then now you have more people against you. Now you got more people.
But they'll have shitty abilities like Senator Kelly had. He just turned into a blob of water and then that's it.
I still want somebody to explain to me what Senator Kelly's mutation exactly was.
He turned into a chinless queef like Mitch McConnell.
Do you remember those toys? They looked like sausages, but they were filled with water, and you could like squeeze them, and they'd come through your hands. He became one of those. That was his mutant power.
Well, he looked like a giant sperm, and I was just kind of like, well, wait, what is his mutant power? And then he just died, and I'm like, wait a minute, was that the plan? Because that's a pretty shitty plan. But I mean, I one thing I did like was that, he thought, everyone thought it was Wolverine he wanted, but then it out it was Rogue. Okay, that's pretty cool. But other than that, this whole thing was set up to fail. You could just tell, like, what are you doing, dude? That's what I felt when I watched it, at least.
Yeah.
Any other points you want to make before we have our say here?
Okay. You know what? I think I got it all off. If anything comes back to me,
you feel better. You got it all off your chest, Task. You feel?
I feel like I could keep going, but I would need to throw in the other films as well. So
can't do it. Can't do it. Can't
Okay,
fine. Okay, we're good. I'm good.
Kevin Israel, you want to take the honors, or shall I? Up to you.
I'll gladly go first.
Please do.
So first of all, I was a huge Wolverine fan as a kid. It was the first comic book I ever read. I started reading when I was, I think, 11, back in 1988 and 87, and huge Wolverine fan, which brought me into the X-Men. But I was always loyal to Wolverine. And when these movies when it was announced these were coming out, I lost my shit. Like there were, Blade was the first superhero movie that really ushered in the new era, but this was the first team movie that was going to do the idea of a compilation of superheroes justice. The trailers all looked amazing. Just the idea of seeing Wolverine on the big screen was exciting. I mean, I always had a problem with Hugh Jackman's height and his build, but I was so excited about it. And I left this movie thinking that I had, like Task said, that I had seen something amazing. I haven't seen this movie all the way through. Has to be at least 10 years. And going back and watching it, first of all, it suffers from what I can only call the Avengers effect, which is the new Marvel cinematic movies have done such an amazing job of creating of these characters and bringing them to life and creating a universe that you go back and you look at everything else and it just kind of pales in comparison. And these movies tried. There were some great scenes in this movie. Like Task said, the concentration camp scene was awesome. I really thought they were going to go a little further with that, and I thought that was going to be. I thought it was almost going to be like a Captain America: First Avenger kind of the tone, where it's partially going to be mostly, half of it going to be maybe in World War II, or see how he got to where he was. I thought this Wolverine's introduction in the cage, that fight, I thought it was really cool. It was ridiculous that the guy punched Wolverine in the face and didn't break his hand. They acknowledge it with the knuckle to knuckle punch, but not with the fist to the head punch, which just makes it was ridiculous. One of my biggest, as a Wolverine fan, one of my biggest problems with this movie is Wolverine gets the shit beat out of him in every single scene. He does not win a single fight until I think he kills Mystique. I think that's the one he wins. Magneto beats the shit out of him. Sabretooth beats the shit out of him. The guy in the cage beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, and I think the only way I could ever justify it was if Wolverine wins a fight, he ends up cutting people up and it's going to be too bloody. And so I always felt that Wolverine got kind of short shrifted in the movie as far as who his character, and he's an old grizzled grumpy badass. He's a great fighter. And it just felt like Hugh Jackman went a different way with him. And he did throughout all of the movies. So credits to Hugh Jackman. He stuck with he made that character into. Wolverine is a much more compassionate, soft, kind of feeling character. And that's not who the Wolverine that you really saw in the comic books or even the cartoons. So that was a huge problem for me. The movie, it's funny because the movie starts off very realistic with the Holocaust scene and with the cage fighting scene and with everything about Rogue with her boyfriend. So you're really seeing how this would happen in real life. And then as soon as you get to the X Mansion, it goes almost animated series. It goes completely into like cartoon realm. And when he introduces Cyclops and Storm and says their code names, also called that, I'm suddenly like, wow, superhero names are so dumb. Like I can understand like Captain America needed, like, because it was a military thing, and Iron Man, the public kind of named him Iron Man, and some names sort of make sense. But the fact that they're like, we're gonna give you code names, you control weather, Storm, like it was so juvenile and corny. And then it could only be matched by, like Task said, those leather outfits, which were just ridiculous. That's nothing anybody would have ever worn. They would have given them tactical stuff, something more Batman looking, Nolan's Batman. It really, for me, the movie starts to kind of fall apart in the X Mansion. And then you start to see their interactions, and like Task and everybody else other than Wolverine was a one-dimensional character. Cyclops was a hard ass, I guess, sort of like you didn't really get much out of him. Jean Grey was just a girl, a pretty girl who's supposed to be smart. Storm Storm's barely one dimensional. And then they just throw all these other characters, kind of, they peppered them in. You got a little bit of Iceman, you got a little bit. They showed Jubilee for a second, and then we're like, nah, we're not going to use her. And then they just kept doing that through the movies, and you never got right. They did Pyro. I love the fact that Iceman ended up being a fire starter in The Boys. I don't know, Task, I'm sure you watched The Boys.
Shout out Lamplighter.
Right. So I thought that was kind of ironic. So then after that, you kind of just go straight to the main action sequence, which is kind of the end of the movie. And that all was just terrible. Magneto's plan was kind of convoluted. Congratulations to Kevin Goatee, who actually did a fantastic job of explaining Magneto's kind of weird plan of turning everybody. We're going to get even with the humans by turning them into mutant idea, which I don't know. I think he would have rather just probably killed all of them. I think that would have been the way Magneto would have gone. but whatever. The fact that they made Rogue pivotal in all of this, and if you know about Rogue, most of the time Rogue is in the comic book. She flies and she's super strong, and I know she got that from, I think, Miss Marvel. I think she got her superpowers from Miss Marvel.
Yes.
But she doesn't even have her accent. Rogue has a Cajun accent, a Southern accent, not Cajun, Southern accent, and she doesn't even have that. She's kind of like this,
She tries to.
She did try to. No, you're right. And she's kind of this like meek, like little girl, and that's not. Rogue was hot, confident. She was a badass. I mean, she had some skeletons in her closet, but so all of these characters, that it was clearly that he just took them and he made them each into one-dimensional characters, except for Wolverine. Wolverine got a backstory. Wolverine, you were sympathetic towards him. And Task's right, it really should have been called Wolverine and His Amazing Friends. And that was fine with me. I wanted a Wolverine movie. But then they gave you a Wolverine that just got his butt kicked the whole time. Like the only person he cut up was Mystique. And it cracked me up when they showed her laying on the ground after being stabbed in the stomach with 3 swords, that there are just these little red dots on her stomach where she was stabbed. There was no blood. There was no anything, because was this PG or PG-13?
13. They're all 13 except for Logan was the only one that was
Logan
R.
was R. That's right. So, yeah, for me, I mean, I wanted to go into this movie recently, last night when I watched it, and love it as much as I did the first time, but it just was so ridiculous. Senator Kelly turning into a liquid of goo. I mean, I guess if Halle Berry touched me too, I would probably turn into a bunch of liquid.
Hey,
but it's just there was a lot that bothered me about it. And then I'll just close. He destroyed Sabretooth. It was like he didn't even read. He never read anything about Sabretooth. He just saw a picture of him and was like, oh, he's a big, strong guy. Okay. And that's all Sabretooth is such a bad. I mean, you kind of got it in Wolverine Origins.
Mm-hmm.
With what's his name? I don't know why I'm blanking on his name.
Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber did for not looking anything like Sabretooth. And not being at all physically the size of Sabretooth. Because Sabretooth's supposed to be like 7 feet tall. Schreiber, he did such a better job than the wrestler that we got stuck with. Although he actually looked like Sabretooth. The whole thing was, it was all backwards. But the movie, look, I will always hold this movie in a high regard, just because it really, Blade opened the door, and I feel like XMEN really started to cut the path for the future movies. But looking back on it, it doesn't hold up at all. And I do. Apparently, Wolverine went on steroids in the following 3 movies, because he was just like a slim, fit-looking guy in this one, and
I'll tell you why. Because they had Dougray Scott, when he bowed out, it only allowed Jackman either 2 or 3 months to get in shape to do this. So he didn't.
That's right.
He didn't have his full time frame to get yoked out of his tits.
I don't know if he still would have gotten as big as he. I feel like he just started like a competition with himself after each movie. He's like, I'm going to be more shredded, because he did slowly get more and more jacked.
Agreed. It seemed like he was like he was like listening to the people complain, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna show them."
Right.
He's trying to up in the gym.
And you know what? I would rather them, and I really hope when they recast all these characters, I really hope they go with somebody for Wolverine who's shorter, who at least gets that little part of it, because that is a huge part of the character.
Dr. Ken Jeong, Leslie Chan from Hangover. That's my call right now.
You know what? My dream casting for him has always been Scott Conn. I've always wanted Scott Conn as Wolverine.
Yeah. That's a good one.
He's built the way, he looks it. He's got the beard. He can act well enough.
Well enough.
I mean,
he can play a douche like in Boiler Room any day of the week, but is he going to be able to pull Wolverine off?
First of all, Scott Conn will always be tweeter to me, so you shut your mouth. But anyway, yeah. So for me, the movie didn't hold up, but I'm always it's always gonna have a special place in my heart, because it was the first time I got to see Wolverine on the screen. And I'll always have that feeling that I did when I watched it in the theater, but I was definitely let down last night as I watched it.
Give me a number, 1 to 10.
5.
I'm gonna go with 3. I'll be nice.
These notes brought to you by the merch shop at guttingthesacredcow.com, where you can get yourself a kick-ass shirt like I'm wearing right now.
Oh, I forgot to put my shirt on. Damn it.
Guttingthesacredcow.com, shirts, bags, hats, cups, cell phone holders. We've got it all there, goddammit. And don't forget, every day we have articles. The list of 10. I thought today's list of 10 was pretty cool. Top 10 futuristic films. Was
Very
a
cool.
Good one. I like that one a lot. So here we go with my notes. I'm going to take a congratulatory sip of beer before I even start. Opening with Magneto's origin at a concentration camp, or as I call it, Gino Bisconti's go-to porn choice. That joke was written for you.
And by the way, Goatsy, you're happy. You're welcome that I didn't wrap you into the whole Nazi story.
I actually was waiting. Like 3, 2,
Nope.
1.
Nope. I'm better than that.
Famke Janssen, insanely striking, right in the wheelhouse in the late 90s, early 2000s, a dime in my book, Famke Janssen. Nothing more satisfying as a movie sound effect than snicked. I'll also throw in the Transformers sound effect of transforming, of course, the lightsaber effect, and when a woman whips out her boobs, you hear a boing. The casting is spot on, as Task has said. Wolverine, perfect. Xavier, Magneto, perfect. But Rogue and Cyclops, Anna Paquin's Southern Cajun accent is worse than X3.
All of it. The whole thing.
Ouch. Ouch.
Sabretooth got the real short shrift here. No chance to get in the whole Wolverine stuff. Rebecca Romaine at her absolute zenith. And by the way, you'll find a Zenith TV before you find Rebecca Romaine in a movie in the last 15 years. Thank you. Magneto turning Senator Kelly into a watery blob. If he really wanted to torture Senator Kelly, he'd make Anna Paquin read War and Peace to her in her Cajun accent. I write fucking jokes, Task. You see that?
Okay. I see.
Explain me this, boys. Explain to me this. How in the living fuck does a hot dog vendor have a TV turned on in the middle of a beach?
That's observation.
Thank you.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
And of course, tuned into the news channel just so that Senator Kelly can see what's going on, and we're setting the stage for the big old Duke at the fighting at the OK Corral, aka Statue of Liberty. Because in the rare case that I want a boiled hot dog that tastes like a wet catcher's mitt, I want to know what's going on in the world as I throw ketchup on something that will give me diarrhea in 4.5 minutes or less while getting news. And you two nerds, how do you not sniff this out? If Professor X cannot penetrate Magneto's helmet, why didn't Xavier and Jean Grey use Sabretooth or Toad as he did and just flick off the helmet and then mind control Magneto? Why didn't anyone ever think of that? Well, they hold him down, they rip the helmet off, and they do what they want to, including anal rape. But that's just me thinking out loud.
Doesn't that happen sort of in Days of Future Past?
Kind of. So,
Yeah.
A lot of probing.
And then when they do knock off that helmet, why didn't anyone pinch his nose and go, woo, 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 honk, honk, honk? An hour and 5 minutes in, this film begins to drag. The metal detector joke for Wolverine, yawn. Toad doing his Darth Maul moves, Ray Park, yawn. This film tried to shake some of the mid to late 90s action cliches, but still fell right into those tiger traps. And I can't be the only one. That whole Statue of Liberty scene was so anticlimactic. Are you kidding me? There were no real stakes. At no point did I feel any danger for anybody. I would rather catalog Bryan Singer's porn catalog than see Anna Paquin do another major role as Rogue. Killing him with Trask today. You see that, Kevin? Wolverine and Sabretooth have years of history together. but they act like complete fucking strangers as they're meeting each other for the first time in this film. Explain this to me. There are two long-running villains, just like Batman and Joker forever. We can do this forever, can't we? That same shit. And it's just like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Logan. What's your name? Oh, Sabretooth? Cool. No.
But you know what's even worse than the fact that they don't recognize each other? Because I can understand Wolverine because he doesn't have his memory. Obviously, Sabretooth would remember him. And they hinted that he does because he took his tags.
Oh, yeah.
And so clearly he knew there was something there that they never, other than taking his tags, they never went beyond to explain why that happened or anything. And I think that was even worse, the fact that they was like, oh, yeah, no, fans, don't worry, he knows him. All right, move on.
That was like for us.
I thought the sniffing part was also like, oh, shit, familiar scent. Okay. The first time I saw this film, just like Kevin Israel, I loved it. I own every X-Men film except for Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix because they are fucking abortions. Every subsequent time I've watched this film, it's lost its luster. After rewatching it for this episode, it does not hold up great. The first half is fine. It's fine as it sets the table. The second half where Rogue runs away to the train station loses me. This does not pass the remote test whatsoever. Task, what's the remote test? Quite simply, if you're ever flipping around on cable, this film pops up. You drop your remote, go, I know what I'm doing for the next either 45 minutes, hour and 15, to whatever it is. Not this film. The whole X-Men franchise does have some dicey installments. But I will go out in the room and say, I will fight you all right now. X2 is amazing. Days of Future Past is amazing. First Class is rock solid. Listen, this is the fourth best X-Men film, but this is a major drop-off after First Class. I'm glad it was well received to open the door, but this does not have any staying power for me. And I get, listen, this is the pioneer that everything else has benefited from. Once they had the outline here, they were able to start making things better and better. That's why the Avengers was so great, Iron Man. We all know the stories. But this does not hold up. 4.5 out of 10.
Nice. I agree 1,000%, except for all the other X-Men movies. They all suck. But
Fuck you. X2, Days of Future Past, and First Class are great.
I'd have to go. You know what? KG has talked about X2 a number of times, and I probably haven't seen that since I saw this one. I have to go back and watch it again to see if it does hold up as well as he lobbies on behalf of.
The Lady Deathstrike fight alone is the price of admission because he fucks her up. That's what should have been Sabretooth and Wolverine is the Lady Deathstrike stuff. That was dope. That was fucking great. 4.5 out of 10. So no one liked this film. Not surprised.
Not a good movie.
Yeah, no, it's not. Critics, 5-star reviews. By the way, most of these reviews were written at nothing recent. Like 2015 were the newest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
X-Men plays faithful to the comics while opening the doors to a larger universe to come. What is most surprising and wonderful about Bryan Singer's X-Men is how skillfully it avoids all of the myriad potholes placed in its path. The Marvel Comics characters are well realized, and Singer mixes the classic values of good storytelling with liberal amounts of digital magic. On the downside, this plays little too much like the beginning of a franchise. Thanks, dum-dum. That's the fucking idea of this. You don't make a movie to go one and done, stupid. The most beautiful, strange, and exotic comic book movie since the original Batman. Mm-hmm.
Strange?
Yeah, strange. That's an odd one, right? Critics 1-star reviews. When the big battle between Magneto and Xavier's forces gets going, you have lightning bolts, steel claws, magnetic fields, explosive red rays, and flyaway tongues. It's a variety show, and all the acts have been rushed on stage as one. In Singer's Dark Vision, action and special effects take a backseat to message. He uses X-Men to preach a sermon of tolerance. Like most sermons, it isn't much fun to sit through. X misses the spot.
Ooh. Gotcha.
I was waiting for a DMX reference, like X gonna give it to you, gonna give it to you, X gonna give it to you.
Well, you got that in Deadpool.
Yeah, oh, so good. X-Men plays like a so-so middle chapter of an epic series rather than a fitting kickoff. Right on. I am sure that regular fans of the comic book will find some inside jokes amusing, but I didn't find that much humor and grew weary of the effort.
I'm glad I'm not alone here.
Mm-hmm. All right, now it is time for Amazon 5-star reviews. And I will say, these Amazon 5-star reviews are lacking. The storyline is close to the heart. What if you are a gay, a Jew, minority race that is considered not normal in the eyes of everybody else? Signed, Michael Richards.
Jesus Christ.
Took a little bit for task, but he's on board now.
I will say that watching this, especially now with everything going on, it felt that much kind of felt relevant. I was like, I could see them, that I mean, I don't remember exactly what the society was like back in 2000, but now with everything going on, it felt like the movie was kind of toned for today. Mm-hmm. But then short of that, everything else fell apart.
Absolutely, I agree.
Hold on. We're still in the reviews, goddammit. We're not expanding. No, the script. No,
my bad.
I had all the X-Men movies on disc, except the original was on VHS. Now I have the whole set.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I bought it for a friend. I guess she liked it. Person didn't even watch it. She's like, my gift-giving experience was a 5-star review. And now, Amazon 5-star reviews. This one's actually the first two are a little lengthy, but good. The movie starts slow with lots of exposition. When you are introduced to the characters, you are not given any reason to particularly care about them, and it does not get any better from there. The bottom line is the screenplay is terrible. It drags. There is never really much of a sense of suspense, and the characters are not presented in a way that one can pull for them, with the possible exception of Patrick Stewart's character. But he isn't in most action scenes. It's a shame, because with a great concept and some well-known actors, I hope they would have some better material to work with. Yeah, Patrick Stewart's not in action scenes. What's he going to do, a fucking wheelie on that wheelchair? Shoot out guns and shit out of the wheelchair like it's Spy Hunter with wheelchairs? Dun, 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 dun. Next one. My kid dragged me to this travesty. The funny thing is, I used to like X-Men comics when I was a kid myself, and halfway expected a good yarn. And I do enjoy sci-fi movies like The Matrix, Terminator, 12 Monkeys,
12 Monkeys,
etc.
Yeah, that movie.
Terrible. But oh my, what a mistake going to this turkey. There is absolutely no story to this at all. The characters are ridiculous. The acting, what acting, is preposterous. This was the closest thing to sheer torture since they dragged me to the Pokemon movie. But don't take my word for it. Even my kids had to admit it was terrible. Plot confusing. You like that one. Plot confusing. Stale. Can't see where they spent the money. Cast of unknowns. No excitement. Just a lot of ballyhoo by the producers. Didn't even deserve to be released. Lighting is so terrible. I know, right? Lighting is so terrible that alone it will give you a headache. If the plot does it. Terrible casting. James Marsden is simply dreadful. Don't waste your time on this piece of junk. I like this ballyhoo. Like, listen to this rabble-rouser spinning yarn. That Weisenheimer may get a few lickings with a switch later on. I like how they judge the technical aspects, but this person has absolutely zero credibility to judge. Kind of like we do doing this podcast, Kevin Israel.
You shut your mouth. We're experts.
50 episodes in, you bet your ass we are. Very inappropriate for kids. Signed, Ed Gein.
Oh, my.
That sounds like it's written by a guy named Ed Gein.
No, that was my joke. Oh, right.
Oh.
It's a serial killer, you idiots. The guy who dressed up as a clown.
Oh, man. Come on.
Oh. I can guess that. My bad.
Nobody did. Nobody did.
Yeah, nobody did who doesn't read. That's who didn't.
No.
This movie might appeal to some audiences, but not me. It was too dark and didn't contain any characters for which I had sympathy. Of course, I'm not an 18 to 25-year-old male. And by the way, I'm not a 40-year-old virgin, but I still love that movie, so stick it up your ass, buddy. Or lady. I don't know who's this is a good one. I don't know who's accessing my account, but I don't rent movies.
Was that the review?
Yes.
You wrote a review because someone rented a movie with his account?
Yeah. I don't rent movies. I just do Civil War reenactments. That's what that guy forgot to add at the end of that. Last one. Not my type of motion picture. This person sounds like their house smells of sour milk and broken dreams.
I do have a fine automobile in the driveway.
Or the horseless carriage, I think they call it. Ding, boom, ding, ding, ding goes a trolley. Kevin Israel.
That was from a musical, Kevin Goatee.
Listen, I just because I don't watch them doesn't mean I know about them. Kevin Israel, did Task gut the sacred cow?
I'm loath to say this because I entered this episode thinking that I had an opinion as to how he was going to do, knowing that he disliked it and my feeling of it. But, I have to say, I think he gutted it.
Boy.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can give him the gutting. I don't know why.
Ooh, split decision! We've never had this before.
No.
I'm so excited.
No, we don't. I'm so excited. I don't think he
So
did.
what I think we should do then, Kev?
We should Rochambeau each other for it.
Well, luckily, thank God for COVID. So we don't have to hit each other in the dick. But until we can punch each other in the balls, I think we should, when we put the episode up, I think we should put it to the audience.
Vote.
Yes.
Vote. We're
Yes.
we're democratic as fuck.
God damn right we are. Egalitarians.
I'll explain why. I think you were kind of just stick and moving. You didn't deliver the killer blow. Now, does this film stink? I think this film if you had to say it gutted it, I think the film gutted itself more than Task did.
Well, that's why I had trouble with it. This movie guts itself by existing.
I see.
Fair.
We've had a lot of those in this podcast where it's
It's really disappointing.
an uncontested dunk. Like, by all means, this film blows. I don't think he got it. I think he coughed in its mouth, an open mouth. I think he.
An open mouth.
No, I think I have to disagree with you, and I think we have to go to audience. I think we leave it to our faithful listeners.
I think we shall. I think superfan Katie is going to be one to jump in as well as superfan Becky. But let's hear it, guys. What do you think? Let us know. Are you with Team Israel or Team Goatee? Did Task gut the sacred cow? We'll leave it up to you. But that being said, Task, thank you yet again so much for coming on. Shout out your podcast and everywhere else that we can find you.
Yes, Super Suit Show. Just Google Super Suit Show. We do a live comic book show. Watch me talk shit about comic books and other things every Saturday at 10 a.m. I want to thank both of the Kevins for having me on here.
Oh, thanks for coming on. It was great.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Really appreciate it. Kevin Israel, where can the masses find you?
KevinIsrael.com for a calendar, a stand-up comedy calendar that is very slowly trickling in. I got some stuff going in October and November, but it's still a struggle. So check it out. And speaking of a struggle, you can get my album "The Struggle Is Real" on iTunes and everywhere else you can get audio stuff. So check that out and help me pay rent.
That's a great name, by the way. That is a great name.
Thank you.
The Struggle Is Real. That's good.
KevinGoatee.com, NFL season. Your boy right now, as we tape this on October 5th, is 14-8 against the spread. That's making a lot of money for you out there. KevinGoatee.com for picks, dates, stand-up dates. Well, not much rolling in right now as well. Very little, as a matter of fact, to be honest. We all can't work Fridays in East Windsor, Kevin Israel. But
Don't be jealous.
But anyway, KevinGoatee.com, but more importantly, guttingthesacredcow.com. Please write a 5-star rating, 2-sentence review. This helps us out big time. And of course, the website, guttingthesacredcow.com, every day has a new article on there, and the merch store. Give that a visit as well. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for, again, 1 year in, and we've had a damn good start. People are really acknowledging what kind of jump we've had out of the gate.
It's been a great year.
It sure has. No hyperbole, no horseshit, man. It's been a great run so far with you, sir. So I'm very happy that we decided.
Looking forward to the next 12 months.
Goddamn right. Kevin Goatee, Kevin Israel, thanking Task yet again for coming on and doing XMEN. We'll see you next time, folks. Take care. See you later.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.